Peace, love, and light, everybody. We got El Alquimista by Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist in English. In Spanish is El Alquimista. And this is Spanish and English for the Moorish Alchemist, part 60. And we're just going to get straight into it, all right? So it goes El muchacho pasó noche entera en vela. The young man stayed awake the whole night. Or you could say vela, like the young man stayed awake the whole night in candlelight. 2 horas antes de amanecer, despertó a uno de los chicos que dormía en su tienda. Despertó a uno de los chicos que dormía en su tienda y le pidió que le indicase dónde vivía Fátima. 2 hours before the rise of the sun, Santiago woke up one of the guys that was sleeping in the tents or one of the stores in the huts and asked him to indicate where did Fatima live or where Fatima lived. Salieron juntos y fueron para allá. They left together and went over there. A cambio de ello, le dio dinero para comprar una oveja. In exchange, he gave the man money to buy a sheep. Después, pidió que descubriese dónde dormía Fátima y que la despertase y dijera que la estaba esperando. He after that he told her like, please tell me where Fatima lives and that I've been waiting for her. El joven árabe hizo esto y a cambio ganó dinero para otra oveja. The young Arab did this and exchanged money for sheep. And they exchanged money for sheep. Right. Ahora déjanos solas, dijo el muchacho al joven árabe que que volvió a su tienda para dormir, orgulloso de haber ayudado al consejero del oasis y contento por tener dinero para comprar ovejas. Now Santiago's like, please leave us alone. He told the young Arab, and the young Arab man went to his hut and went back to sleep with pride that he had helped the counselor of the oasis and very content with the money to even go ahead and buy some sheeps, right? Says Fátima apareció a la puerta de la tienda. Los dos salieron para andar entre las palmeras. Fátima came out of her like you could say like a hut. It's like an oasis. Maybe it's like a rock building, sediment building. It could be like they keep saying tienda. Tienda means like a store. But I'm seeing in my head kind of like these huts because they're in the middle of the desert, right? So she came out the hut and the both of them walked out together within the palm, like the palm date trees or the date palm trees. El muchacho sabía que era contra la tradición, pero no tenía ninguna importancia ahora. Santiago, the young man, knew it was against the tradition to go ahead and roam around with a young woman, especially her being all hijabed up and stuff. But at this point, he didn't care about the tradition because at that point there was no more importance. Voy a partir, dijo, y quiero que sepa que hoy a volver yo te amo porque he's like, I'm going to leave. That's what he says. And I want you to know that I'm going to come back and I love you because, and then she interrupts him and she says, don't say nothing. No digas nada. Se ama porque se ama. You love because you love. No hay ninguna razón para amar. There is no other reason to just love. Just love. Pero el muchacho continuó. But Santiago persisted and he continued. He's like, I love you because I had a dream. Yo te amo porque tuve un sueño. Encontré un rey. I found a king. Vendí cristales. I sold crystals. Crucé el desierto. I crossed the desert. Los clanes declararon la guerra. The clans declared war. Y estuve en un pozo para saber dónde vivía un alquimista. And I stayed by a well to know where an alchemist lived. Yo te amo porque todo el universo conspiró para que llegase hasta ti. I love you because all the universe conspired for me to arrive all the way up into you. Los dos se abrazaron. The two hugged. Era la primera vez que un cuerpo se tocaba con el otro. It was the first time they actually embraced bodies. Volveré, repitió el muchacho. I'll be back. Antes yo miraba el desierto con deseo, dijo Fátima. Before I used to look at the desert with hope and wishes, right? This is what Fátima's saying to him. Ahora será con esperanza. Now, I used to look at the desert in with a wish, but now I can look at it with hope. Ahora será con esperanza. Mi padre partió, pero volvió para mi madre y continúa volviendo siempre. My father left, but he came back for my mother, and they continued to be together. Right? And then, y no dijeron nada más, and then they didn't say anything more. Anduvieron un poco entre la palmera y el muchacho le dejó a la puerta de la tienda. They walked around for a little bit more, but then Santiago dropped her back off. Volveré como tu padre volvió para tu madre, dijo. I'll be back just like your father was back for your mom, came back for your mother. That's what Santiago says to Fátima. Reparó en que los ojos de Fátima estaban llenos de lágrimas. He noticed that Fátima's eyes were full of tears. Lloras. He's like, why are you crying? Soy una mujer del desierto, dijo ella, escondiendo el rostro. I'm a woman of the desert, she said, hiding her face. Pero por encima de todo, soy una mujer. But on top of everything, I'm a woman. All right, so this is a very short chapter right here, and I'm getting a question here. Do you know about the Mexican cartel? Yeah, I do know about the Mexican cartel. They're a bunch of Chinese dynasties that's been invading America for like 400 years, bro. So anyway, this chapter is all about like just romance and love between Santiago and Fatima, and Santiago finally takes um the advice from the alchemist himself and Fatima herself as to go ahead and fulfill his personal legacy, because as a man, um he's battling between love and his personal legacy being impeded or interrupted. So when the alchemist convinces him, like, yo, don't continue with the love with this girl and forget about your dreams, because if you do that, you guys are gonna fall out of love in like 4 years, because eventually she's not gonna be the reason why you never achieved your dreams. It's gonna be yourself that held you back, right? And then yeah, that's really like an important lesson that I think all young men should take into consideration, because your what is perceived as your destiny, la única obligación de una persona es cumplir su destino. It's right here in the back of the book. The crescent moon. Crescent moon is very symbolic for mother and son, and also for Islam in itself, right? The chronological sequence of the moon cycles. And it's very important for men and women to fulfill what it is that you feel is most important in your destiny, in your path, particularly, and not let anything impede it, especially when everything of which is telling you to around you, as the book says, the universe conspires with you when you want something, when when you actually have like a real set goal and a real set dream, something that you really want to achieve, things around you and people around you, especially within your travels, will help you and they'll conspire with you. That's why it says in the book that all of the universe will conspire with you, right? As long as you're really serious and your intentions are true. So, Santiago would be a much more strong person and yeah, Santiago would be a stronger person, a much more hopeful person, firm in his faith if he actually goes ahead and continue with his personal legacy. And his personal legacy is something that a lot of people say, especially biblically and ecclesiastically, they'll say like the language of dreams is the language of God. So Santiago was given this dream of pyramids and how there's treasures there. And every time he gets to this dream, he wakes up right before he touches the treasure. So his curiosity for this dream brought him to years of travel from Andalusia all the way through the Maghreb, which is where, across North Africa, across all of the Barbary state powers. And yeah, so Santiago right now is kind of like fighting with the fact that all of his journey brought him to the one that he loves, but the one that he loves is encouraging him and saying, like, listen, like, I'm a woman of the desert. And the alchemist himself is saying that she's a woman of the desert. So they have a faith that they've been taught and shown, especially by her parents. So Fatima's father was actually also somebody who did, just like Santiago, went ahead, became a stronger individual, and fulfilled his personal destiny and his personal path, and didn't let anybody impede on that. Right. So I think that that's very, very important. This is Spanish and English for the Moorish Alchemist, part 60. Right. And for those of you that really resonate with this, I think uh I think that this is something that you guys could really like take upon in your meditations, and you really think like, is who around you is contributing to your dreams, and who around you is impeding on them, right? And then you also have to understand that your emotions too can sometimes take you off of your course and your trajectory as to like where you want to go, right? Sometimes we have girlfriends or boyfriends or partners, maybe some sort of distraction, maybe a party over here or something like that that takes you off course. And as much as you want to go off the course of what it is that you're trying to achieve, um the alchemist brings to light that at some point, if you stay off course, you will definitely lose the path, and you'll lose the ability to see the signals as to how the universe is conspiring with you to go ahead and achieve something. So this is a theme that a lot of men, especially family men, they kind of sacrifice their dreams and the things that they want to do, with this whole lame idea of like happy wife, happy life, instead of, focusing on building themselves up to be the best that they can be, to be the best version of themselves for everybody else around them. So um it's an emotional and it's a very sentimental scene, but it's one with very deep depth and meaning, and it's just the reality of what it is that some of us and a lot of us around the world have to do to essentially grow and be the greatest version of ourselves, not just for ourselves but for everyone else around us, just like the Michael Jackson song, right? Look at the man in the mirror if you want to make a change, right? So thank you guys so much for logging in with me. This is Spanish and English for the Moorish Alchemist. I'm your boy, teacher by trade, by work, profession. Marcoelboriken. I'm with the Moors of Light. You guys can check out moorsoflight.com. And this movement is all about knowledge of self. And for those that are ready to illuminate their paths, and whether it's traveling the world, or whether it's studying, or whether it's getting into a new profession, or whether it's self-love, or whether it's the glow up, or whether it's status correction or mental correction, as they like to finesse people with paperwork. um it is what it is, right? So all about uplifting humanity, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It's the greatest movement in the world, right? So I hope you guys have a fabulous rest of the year, day, whatever it is, whatever timeline we are on, whatever timeline you're watching this video on. I'm your brother, Marco L. Kim with the Moors of